AITA for not telling my BF that I slept with someone else while we were apart. My boyfriend and I dated for a few months, and it was going very well. He 29 and I 28 were on the same page about this relationship, and both were serious about each other. Until one day, he dumped me. There is little information on why exactly, but basically, life wasn't going well. Some serious issues with the family, work, and health. I was wrecked. For background info, I am severely depressed without it. About 10 days after he dumped me, my close friend died at 24. I lost my mind. Time stopped making sense. About 3 days after my friend's funeral, while I was still very broken, I met a random dude on the subway. He approached, was obviously younger than me, neat, normal, and asked for my number, and I gave it. The only reason why I did was a giant fear of being alone around that time. All my friends were gone. Summer break. One died, and the closest person I loved left me. I also live alone, as I am not from the States, and my family is abroad. I was having episodes of anxiety attacks and urges of self-harm. I have a history of it, so I gave my number to the company. It was too lonely and scary. We met at the subway station where I live, so he is also my neighbor across the street. Basically, we met the same night at the bar, where we kept drinking. And I'm not gonna lie, he is not a bad person at all. I am not interested in him as a man, but as a person or a friend. He's a really good, respectful person. He is 24 years old, an actor, and super cute. But like I said, he's totally not my interest field. I needed to talk. I talked. I told him about the breakup, the friend that died. He was a good listener and cared. He lost his brother, so he understood how it felt very well. I am grateful to him for sharing my pain that night. But we kept drinking, and at some point, we went upstairs to his apartment. It was the moment I knew there could be sex if we went to his apartment, but this sober voice was very faint in my head. I was too drunk to stop. It happened. He kissed me, and we ended up having SSX. I woke up at 5 a.m. feeling total shit, full of regret. I regret it because I love my boyfriend, but I was totally lost in life. I was grieving, and my coping mechanisms were horrible. I regretted it because, as a principle, I only sleep with men I have feelings for. I never had one-night stands. I lost my virginity, literally a year ago, and wanted to keep my body for men I feel love for, ideally for one. And here, I had sex with a random dude. I cried a lot after that. And yet, the second time happened too. Same scenario. I am depressed in my room, crying nonstop. He invites me casually for a drink, and I go to forget the pain. And then I cry after. That's it. Nothing happened after that. He invited me, and I kept rejecting him. Fast forward to 3 months later. My ex comes back to me and we reunite. Right now, our relationship has improved a lot. We are in couple therapy and planning on marriage, but he still doesn't know what happened with that guy in the Gap when we weren't together. I know I technically didn't owe anything to him since he dumped me and I was single, but we both said if we move on, we will let each other know. And until then, we will keep each other's number and do our best to fix ourselves and reunite, which eventually happened. So I broke that promise in the agony of the pain of losses. I didn't want to make excuses. I was truly in agony. Suicide attempts, starving myself, non-stop crying. I'd never do that in a normal state. Besides breaking the promise, I also had to lie to him because after we reunited, he asked, "I trust you fully. I just still will ask if there is anything I need to know." And I had to say no. A lot later after that, we played a game where I would ask him hypothetical scenarios, and he would answer. So I asked him if he slept with someone while we were not together. What would you do? He didn't think anything bad of me asking it at first and said, honestly, he'd lose trust in humanity completely because of how much insane trust he has in me. And then he asked, "But you didn't do that, right?" And I again confirmed, right. I feel total guilt for that. What should I do? Everyone around says just bury that with yourself. Never mention it. I am moving to a different apartment, which lowers the chances of seeing that guy by accident. I removed him from my phone the moment my ex and I got back together, and there was never any chatting at all, only 2 hookups. I didn't feel anything for that guy, don't care about him, and will totally forget he existed. I love my boyfriend, but the guilt is eating me. So AITA for not telling my boyfriend that I slept with someone else while we were apart.